couldn't act in the first place.
Yeah, you don't see Henry Cavill running around saying, I hate the new Superman. He's like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, he's moved on. He's doing
did his
other
work.
things.
Yeah,
right. You do the work, you move on, you do other things. Like, you don't understand Superman any better just because you played the character for 3 movies.
It was Herman Cain I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
He made all his money through pizza, and then he became a politician.
Well, I mean,
anyways.
The pizza to President pipeline is much thinner now than it used to be.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Semi-Bookish Podcast.
You have to start it from the pizza to President pipeline. That just
Actually, it started when you guys were talking about Henry Cavill. So, welcome back. We've been on a hiatus. Jesus.
What do you mean? We've been gone for a week. It's fine. Nothing happened. Certainly no geopolitical events have occurred. That, yeah.
No, not
what
at all.
happened at all, guys.
Not at
That
all.
is not what happened at all.
No.
Well, welcome back.
Yes.
We are
Summer reading is taking up so much.
Yeah, so we moved our schedules around so we can record. Yay! Anyways, we're just gonna jump right into it because what have we done not done in a while? We haven't talked about what we've been reading, playing, or watching.
Oh.
So Tony gets to go first because Tony looks like they're thinking about it right now.
Sure, I always am. So my current video gaming, I'm not really doing much right now in the gaming arena, to be honest. I would like to start playing The Witcher 3 soon, but, how soon is soon? I don't know.
I tried to play the first one once and I hated it.
I've never been able to get to the Witcher games.
I have heard that if you are in any way, shape, or form RPG, oriented, skip 1 and 2 and just start with 3. Because 3's mechanics are just much more manageable if you're not used to playing older.
Dragon Age Origins, Witcher 1 has some of the same.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of the same engine, so it's kind of the same mechanics.
Yeah.
However, it's done significantly worse, in my opinion.
I just think it's fascinating that The Witcher 1 was the game that caused President Obama to claim that the Witcher series, both as books and video games, were some of the best culture and art to come out of, in the world. I thought that was so fascinating. I'm like, wait, I'm sorry, what? So does this mean that President Obama was in the White House just gaming to heart's content? I don't know.
Honestly?
I could see
Probably.
it. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, it's interesting just to know that any
I would love
leader,
to know what games President Obama played while he was in the White House.
Yeah.
That would have been entertaining to listen about.
I mean...
Do you think he was sitting there playing, GTA or something?
I don't know. Like maybe one of his daughters is just an RPG nerd, and that's just how he discovered...
They were 10!
Him and Biden trying to put on a... Picturing it. Oh, like the picture when they killed Osama bin Laden. They're just very intensely sitting, looking at the TV. It's just that with video games. That's what I'm imagining.
That's perfect. So yes, gaming-wise, not much. I am currently conducting my annual rewatch of Game of Thrones. I'm on the last 2 episodes of season 4. Which means I need to prepare for the show to slowly but surely plummet from this point forward, which is fine. I am not as big. I love this show so much that I am able to excuse a lot of what happens as you go from seasons 5 to 8. But it's undeniable that the show lost its...
Spark.
Something like that, yeah. It's still there. It's still a great show, but I feel like what it was aiming to do or how it was achieving what it was achieving in those first 4 seasons is...
I think technically season 4 was the point where they kind of had to veer off from the book.
That was season 5. Because Dance with Dragons, I think early part of season 5, late part of season 4 has an overlap somewhere in there. I can't remember where the overlap comes in.
Well, they veered off in 5,
yeah.
But that doesn't mean they probably discussed it in season 4.
Yeah, because they had to veer off in 5, because 5, I think, covers Dance with Dragons.
So I think at that point, that's where you start to see some of the veering off, because they have to start placing those stones early to build the next season up in a correct way.
And George was a writer for the show at that point, too, so it was kind of like... I think he just hates writing for television. I mean, he wrote for television in his early career, and he left that to go write novels and literally Game of Thrones. So, like, I think he's just been out of the game of that for so long that the idea of, meeting a deadline and all of those things, he's just like, Anyway, so I'm, rewatching that. I don't think I'm watching anything else particularly. Oh, I mean, I've been binge watching RuPaul's Drag Race in the last week, so that's nice. What am I reading? Oh, yes, my reading is all over the place right now, but I did start a book last night that matches our theme. Okay, so everyone knows
we'll get there with the theme.
Yeah, but everyone knows that one of my pet, well, maybe you don't, but I'm going to tell you, one of my pet nonfiction subjects in general is literary criticism and history in general, but in particular to do with fantasy. So this is more like what would you call this? I mean, it's a scholarly study on language. It's called Magic Words, Magic Worlds, Form and Style in Epic Fantasy. And I was excited because it's really kind of a landmark, text of its time, because even in works by scholars that I greatly admire, they tend to get to quote unquote epic fantasy, which if you think of it, it's like Tolkien imitators, people who are trying to go against Tolkien, whatever, secondary world fantasy where there's a hero and all that kind of stuff, Sanderson, Jemison, all those people. You get to that section or that part of the history, and they'll either go, we like Lord of the Rings, but we hate everything that followed, or they'll go, Lord of the Rings was flawed, which is why the whole epic fantasy thing is flawed, unless it's someone like China Miéville who's going against the grain and all that kind of thing. And so they don't really examine what makes Wheel of Time work as its own text, or what makes Game of Thrones work as its own text, or just whatever, any epic fantasy that you can think of that either popular or not popular. They don't really go into the depths of why a form like that is constantly being used by its authors. So it's really nice to have one that's not only good, doing that, but is also creating a new kind of aesthetic or scholarship around the aesthetics of the actual epic fantasy stuff that's been happening over decades. So that's nice, because I think that whether you like it or not, there's too many books in that compressed amount of time within that very specific narrow genre scope to just be like, it all sucks. Really? All of it? It's not even all the same. It's okay. So that's why I started reading, and I really am hopeful to, keep going. I'm almost done with the introduction, so, we'll see where it goes from there. So that's what I'm entertained by these days. Sounds rather dull, but, whatever.
Mood.
RuPaul's Drag Race and epic fantasy. That's my brain. I don't know who to choose. Grant.
Hey, it's me. That's me.
It's you.
Well, I'll do it in the same order you did. Game-wise, I just took advantage of the Steam Summer Sale. Got a few games.
Ooh, nice.
Including RoboCop Rogue City.
Oh.
Which have you guys ever seen the RoboCop movies?
I have not seen one of them, actually.
The first two are very good.
Okay. Wasn't there a remake, too?
There was, and I haven't seen it, but it's supposed to be pretty awful. Okay. Or just mediocre,
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, because I played a little bit over the last week, somebody else that I was visiting with had it.
Nice.
And seems really faithful, visual-wise, vibe-wise to the films. I think a lot of people think of the movies as just kind of straight-ahead action movies, but they're very satirical, at least the first two.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And this definitely captures a little bit of that from the little I've played so far.
Yeah.
It's a first-person shooter. You move a lot slower than you typically would in a modern shooter, which the excuse is that, you're a huge robot man.
Oh, well, there's that, yeah.
Yeah, but it adds... It makes the gameplay interesting, in that you're like a lumbering tank, kind of. You don't have to worry about things. But they got, is it Peter Heller? I'm sure I got his last name wrong, but he's the actor that originally played RoboCop, and they got him to voice the character and everything.
Oh,
so
cool.
really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm not reading anything at the moment. However, I know. I just have so much. I have a tough time choosing, but I think I might start reading Love's Body by Norman O'Brown within the coming days.
Okay.
I read one of his previous books, so I'll have more to say about that next time.
Ah, excellent.
Movie-wise, because I have watched some stuff in the interim, let's take a look. What?
Grant writes them all down at this point.
No, I just have a list.
I haven't seen interesting movies in a bit.
Yeah, so I watched Streets of Fire the other day, which is... how to describe this? Well, first of all, it's from the director of The Warriors, which, if you've seen that, it's a classic. It's one of my favorite... kind of just one of my favorite movies in general.
Yeah.
This is similar to that in that it takes place in New York in kind of an undisclosed time. And it's kind of a rock opera in a way.
Interesting.
I gotta like Repo the Genetic Opera.
A little bit.
Okay.
Apparently the original intention in like pre-production was to make it like a full-blown musical almost. That didn't work out probably because of budgetary reasons.
Sure.
But what they do have, they have a few great performances. Willem Dafoe is great in it. He plays the leader of the kind of the 50s coded biker gang. He has an obsession with this musician.
I'm trying to picture this.
Yeah. Overall, pretty good. Some of the acting was a bit stilted. Obviously they didn't have the hugest budget, but it's nowhere near as good as The Warriors.
Sure. Yeah.
But overall good. I enjoyed it. Unique vibe.
Nice.
I'd say. I saw Conclave.
How was that?
Conclave is pretty darn good. Like if I'm being honest with myself, it's probably an above average thriller.
Sure.
But it's the only thriller that I can think that tackles this topic.
Sure.
For people who don't know Conclave, it's a fictionalized story about like a pope dying in modern times, and then the process of how they select a new one. And Ray Fiennes, he is selected as like the overseer of the conclave in the whole process, and he begins to unravel some things.
Wow, it's Ray Fiennes.
I mean, Ray Fiennes is top 10 actor for me. I absolutely love Ray Fiennes.
Yeah.
And so his performance, I knew it was going to be great going in, and it was. The supporting cast is great as well. Is it Stanley Tucci? I think it's Stanley Tucci.
I know he's in it.
It is Stanley Tucci then, yes. He's really good. And nice. I don't know the guy's name, but there's kind of like an outsider that comes into the whole situation. And I think he did it really well.
Nice.
And he's kind of integral to some stuff that happens later on in the plot, not to spoil anything. But yeah, overall very... it strung me along.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's shot better than your average thriller. It was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Good. Last thing I'll mention is Casualties of War, which...
Oh my God! That's the Vietnam movie, right? I love that movie.
It's great. Yeah, I was actually turned on to it from a different coworker.
Yeah.
And I've seen a few Brian De Palma movies in the past.
Oh, that's right.
This seemed kind of different from what he usually would do.
Yeah.
But
didn't he also direct Carrie?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So that's
I think that was his first film.
I think that's why I ended up watching Casualties of War, because I had seen Carrie and I knew De Palma was a part of the Lucas Spielberg,
Yep, that kind of greater
group of people that we've not given a name to. The inklings of the 70s films era.
I think they do have a name. I'll look it up.
They probably do.
Find it,
yeah, it's not Brad Pitt. It's something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew that, and so I was like, oh, let me go see. I think.
So you can speak to like the impact of this film, because it is a very.
I think it was. Yeah, it was one of the. Was it one of the earlier Vietnam films about Vietnam, or was it just one that?
It came out in 1989, so it was a late edition.
Okay.
But so first of all, it tackles pretty not well known war crime committed by U.S. soldiers in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And it really, really does not skimp on the details, I think.
Ooh.
Because when you go into a war picture, directed by an American. Acted by Americans, you kind of expect, And not to say that, I'm sure if he was like an outsider looking at this, maybe he would have been even more unsparing in how he depicted the events.
Yeah.
But, Michael J. Fox is the main character. Mm-hmm. I don't really want to spoil what...
Isn't Sean Penn in that movie, too?
Yes, he is. He plays a very scary man who I don't want to meet in real life.
He's horrifying, yeah. Because I think that was maybe the other buy-in for me, because I'd seen Milk like 100,000 times, and I was like, all right, who's a Sean Penn person?
Mm-hmm. But for a film that deals with sexual assault in the military and perpetrated by Americans, I feel like it did a pretty good job of posing what happened,
Yeah.
And I appreciated the kind of epilogue with the got into the actual court proceedings and stuff, and how certain people were punished and how certain people were not punished.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen that movie, so I'm like, do I remember that? I remember that. But there are certain moments I remember, and then others I'm like, wait, what? But yeah. Oh,
yeah. I think that's all I'll get into for now. So, Aaron. It's your turn.
Okay. I'll start book-wise. I'm rereading Twilight because I want to dissociate from the world.
Nice.
So I'm
That's one way to
Twilight.
do it. Nice. I love it.
I need to do something to disassociate from current events.
Yeah, because reading Hunger Games won't do that for you.
I didn't really care for Hunger Games in the first place. So.
Ooh.
I liked
has been served.
Well, I liked the first two, and I read third, and then I was like, and then I stopped.
Mockingjay does that, has that effect on people.
So I'm just kind of like whatever, and so it's not. Yeah. It's my vibe up until like a certain point, but then
Yeah, they're not meant to be. I always think interesting thoughts when people are like, "Oh my god, I just love the Hunger Games," and I'm like, "You like Misery?" Do you?
You like Misery and Sadness? Like? Is that what we're doing here?
It's more than that, but it's still just kind of like...
I'm just like, you know what? I need to dissociate. We're reading Twilight because...
I respect that.
Teenage romance will just get me every time.
Yeah.
So, doing that. Playing-wise, so multiple things. One, there's a new Sims 4 pack that comes out today.
So there's that.
But I can't play it yet because they updated The Sims, last week. And they accidentally deleted certain code for pregnancy in the game.
Okay.
So they can't get pregnant?
No.
Okay.
Because they deleted the ability to do that? Is that what?
No, they deleted the ability to find out. You can't take a test anymore to find out.
So babies just show up?
No, it doesn't happen at all because they just deleted pregnancy from the game.
Wow.
And so, I'm in the middle, so I'll give you some context. I'm in the middle of a legacy right now. Mm-hmm. I'm currently on Gen 2, so I have not actually had to start Gen 3 yet.
Okay.
But basically, I started this save with my sim, Juliet, and she was like this also so lovely conservationist. She became a freelance artist instead because... her husband, who's a tech guru, had to turn around, and he has this collection aspiration where he has to collect things. Mm-hmm. And living on the islands, there's no really good spots to collect things.
Sure.
And so I moved them somewhere else where he could get stuff.
Oh, good, yeah.
Because her aspiration was already complete. She was doing a completely separate aspiration, so I was like, you know what, we'll just move everyone. I'm trying to be fair to all of my Sims at this point because I usually only focus on the female Sims and never on the male Sims. So I'm trying to be a little bit more, open this time when I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. They have... This is the most stupid thing on the planet. So they live in this very big house. It's great. I love it because, they got money. And that's all because of the wife who's freelance artist. She gets the big bukus.
Wow, that's nice.
She gets $4,000 a pop.
That's really nice.
With what she's doing.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they have a lot. They have a son and a daughter, and the daughter was, I made her specifically because they had twins and I hated them, and so I deleted the twins, and then I made her in response. Because I aged them up, and I said, oh, your genetics suck, so I fixed a sim that looked good with the genetics of both parents, and then made that the child. So they're fine. They all have Japanese names because their dad's Japanese and it's really, really cute.
Oh.
And then a couple nights ago, and I literally have a whole entire video of this saved to my phone. Akira, the dad, went outside one night at 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh my god, why are you awake? And I thought he was in the middle of a midlife crisis. So I'm like, oh, he's just up contemplating his life like he does. No, he gets abducted by aliens.
Oh, sure.
Has an alien baby, and so now they have an alien toddler running around the house while I have 2 teenagers, because of course I do.
Yeah.
2 teens and an alien. Classic setup.
Yeah, so now I have...
actually make an interesting sitcom.
Now I have little Bonnie, who has blue skin, running around the house. And that was just the name that the game randomized for her, because I was just like, oh, that's cute, here you go.
That's funny.
So she's running around, and then I have Koji and Moriko just going, oh, I have a sibling now who's also an alien, oops. And then Koji turned himself into a mermaid because his mom, who was the conservationist on the islands, found some mermaid fruit, and he ate it by accident.
Oh, like you do.
Yeah, and so Moriko, in response, is going to become a spellcaster.
Sure.
In response, because the new pack is fairies.
Oh.
And there's alchemy, and so I'm going to have her be an alchemist, and then marry a fairy, and then expand that way.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing rotational gameplay, but I can't do that until they fix pregnancy, so I can play each household as I go around. So that's not happening right now. So instead I'm playing Sunhaven, where I just gave my husband a memory potion so he would forget me so I could delete the child, because I can't play the game right now with this child. And so
oh, jeez.
I did that and then immediately married somebody else. So I'm doing that right now. And then, meanwhile, I was stuck downstairs because I had a medical thing that I was doing, and so I was stuck downstairs at my house for a whole entire 24 hours.
Sure.
So I took my PlayStation and my Xbox downstairs. I have EA Play because I have Xbox Game Pass.
Oh, yeah.
And I do own this game, so I do physically own it, and Tony and Grant know this. But my brother was sitting downstairs, and so I started playing Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes!
So I could show him this game.
Yes!
So I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order on my Xbox,
nice.
as opposed to on my computer.
Yeah.
Not too much of a difference.
Okay, I was wondering how you felt.
I will say that I'm a little bit more clumsy, though.
Oh, sure. Sure.
And I think that's just because I'm more used to playing keyboard and mouse now.
Right. Yeah.
So, games that have, shooting, or I have to aim a certain direction correctly, it's easier for me to do keyboard and mouse now than it is for me to do controllers.
Yeah.
So kudos to people who can do that with controllers, because I certainly can't anymore. Which, I'm fine with, but it's just, there's a learning curve to it.
Yeah.
I'm currently sitting on Bogano. And BD, because I just started
the
save,
so you're right.
And there's that one big giant toad. You know exactly which toad I'm talking about.
We do not talk about Ogdobogdo. We do not talk about him.
The one that kind of chases you down.
Yes, I hate that frog.
So I've got a little bit of a fun, entertaining way to get around him. And so you get to that halfway point where he's standing there, but you can go around.
Sure. Yeah.
To where that shortcut is.
Yeah.
And so he's usually attacking a mole rat right then and there. And so what I do is I go around to the other side to that spot, because there's that big gap.
Yeah.
That you can technically run on the wall to get to.
Yes.
I don't run on the wall. What I do is I wait for him to turn around and he'll see me. And he doesn't go around this way. He'll try to jump into the hole, jump over, and so he'll jump into the hole and die.
Oh.
So if you stand there and he notices you, he'll try to jump at you, and he'll fall. And
one of my biggest surprises in playing Jedi Survivor was, so on Kobo, which is the Bogano of Jedi Survivor in a way, it's just better designed. You have, it's a planet, and you don't realize how much they have really designed this planet until you either explore it or you just keep falling into pits and you're like, wait, there's a Rancor down here? What happened? So I was doing this one time, one of my first let's go explore Kobo kind of missions, And I discovered a whole fort that I was like, there's a fort? What? And I'm like fighting my way through the fort.
That's the desert thing, right?
No.
With the planet that you go see Greece at.
Yes, it's the one you go see Greece at. Yes, it's a sort of like a Western.
Yeah. I did that by accident, and then I ran into
thing.
the troll the first time by accident.
Yeah, so you get this fort is there the whole time, and now that I know where it is, I'm like, how did I avoid this at all? But you can. If you just play the game straight through, you can almost like invariably avoid things that are right in front of you that you don't realize are there. But I'm fighting my way through this fort because it's kind of fun. You're fighting droids, you're fighting the little outpost enemy people whose names I've forgotten at this point. But yeah, you're fighting them. It's great. It's fun. You're leveling up your character. You're showing how bad of a cool Jedi you are. And then you fall into a pit. And guess who's down there waiting for you? The spawn of Ogdo, who is twice as difficult than the first game. Because in the Fallen Order, the only reason that the Ogdo is so difficult is because your character has no abilities.
You're significantly underleveled at that point.
But in Jedi Survivor, especially if you've played through a significant portion of it and you've got enough, like Cal's pretty tough at that point, it's still extremely difficult because he's that much faster and his fight, I had to watch a YouTube video and they had to break down all right, at this point
that's what I had to do about the troll too. Because I had accidentally had not a save, it auto saved right as I'm at the top, not at the very not falling in, but I'm at a point where I can't jump back over to get out.
Oh yeah.
So I'm stuck right there at the very spot. So I had to quickly figure out how either A, I'm gonna get out, which I did figure that out at one point, but 2, how to beat this thing. And so I'm running around just going, what the heck?
Yeah.
Because it was an accident. I just went into a cave.
Yep.
That's all I did. And it was an accident, and I was just let's explore it. Maybe there's stuff in here that I can do, because and this is kind of to my detriment, especially when I'm playing Dragon Age Inquisition, is I like to explore, let's say I get on a planet.
Yeah.
I like to explore everything in the area before I move on to the next area.
Yeah.
And this is ingrained in me by playing Legend of Zelda and Final Fantasy for my entire life.
Right, yeah.
You go into a house and you want to literally run around the perimeter of this house like in Final Fantasy and smash the button, because you don't know if there's going to be some random hidden potion in a cupboard in somebody's house.
Right.
You have no idea until you go through this entire house. And so now my whole entire thing is I have to turn around, and if I'm going into a new location or something, I have to go around the whole entire area before I can move on to the boss or whatever I have to do. Because I have to figure out if there's some random hidden thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of to my detriment. And so at that moment, that's kind of to my detriment, because now I have to deal with this stupid giant troll. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do the entire time?
Yeah.
Watching anything though? I'm not watching anything at the moment. I'm in a lull, but I'm hoping that my brother is not working this weekend, because I'm gonna take him to see Superman.
Oh, nice! Yeah, I actually want to see it. I'm just curious to see it. What is it? What's the? I don't want to hear other people's reviews on it, because
I'll tell you if I like it as somebody who's never actually seen a Superman movie ever.
I would love to hear, of course, obviously anyone say I like it, I don't like it, but there's so much around this that has nothing to do with the actual motion picture that
I think I might be a good refresh for that, because I've never actually watched a Superman movie. So I don't have any loyalty to a certain Superman, or I don't have.
I've only seen 3 Superman movies, and I only like 2 of them. And I'm sorry, the original Superman film is not one of those.
The Christopher Reeve?
Yep.
Oh, but what I mean is
find it to be rather low budget and strange.
But like I said, I don't have a previous Superman that I'm attached to, outside of maybe the CW version of it. But
oh sure, yeah. But that's not a movie. Yeah, it's different.
No,
yeah.
And that's also just because I have a loyalty to Tyler.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm kind of, it's out of my, this is new to me. So I'm not I'm going into this blind.
Oh, well, I'm curious to see what you think.
So yeah. However, in terms of what Tony was talking about earlier, so we can get started on this topic.
What topic?
We are going to be talking about nonfiction today, because we are going to be doing something fun for the next couple weeks where we're going to be reading each other's picks for nonfiction books.
Yes.
But we should probably have a precursor and talk about nonfiction books and...
Like just in general, right? Like a nonfiction. Okay, so let's rap about nonfiction.
My name is Grant, and I'm here to say I want to read nonfiction in a really cool way.
That's it.
Am I Pusha T?
Done.
Am I Pusha T yet? Or
Did you? I think
Pusha T, by the way, dropping tonight. I'm very excited.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah, him and his brother.
Oh,
Do we need to come up with Grant's rap name now?
Maybe later.
That's a different episode.
Let's peer review it first. Speaking of nonfiction.
So the one thing I really do like about nonfiction is it is a really big, vast. Nonfiction isn't just like one genre. It's like multiple things in like one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how fiction is just kind of like the catch-all umbrella for certain like fantasy.
For just all the different genres.
Nonfiction's kind of like the same thing, but nonfiction is like kind of a wider monster than fiction is, in my opinion.
Sure.
Because you have like your self-helps, your celebrity written memoirs, you have like your things that are written for entertainment, but then at the same time you also have your nonfiction that's written for academics or for I did my thesis on this, or I did a case study, or I reported this whole entire true crime, so here we go with all the facts.
Yeah.
Or here's this cookbook that has all these different recipes, and then you're sitting there going, well, how did you get all these nutrition facts? Like, there's like a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot different from fiction.
I'm curious because I have my kind of own... obviously have my own experience, but I kind of have an answer to this question. But, like, does anyone, either of you, have, like, an awareness of what your first kind of non-fictional reading, apart from school, was? Because, we always got assigned those stupid, write a report on this. And you're like, this is a newspaper article. Why do I care? Kind of thing.
I mean, technically mine was at school, but it was because of AR reading.
Oh, cool.
So it wasn't like it wasn't assigned to me as like a book report. So
gotcha,
we'll just
right.
kind of preface it like that.
Yeah.
So your context, and it was really funny because it made me hate nonfiction for the longest time in my entire life.
Oh,
so I will explain. So AR reading, for people who don't know, is kind of like Lexile.
Yeah, it's like the not earlier version. It stands for accelerated reader.
You would have... The schools would make you have to read books, and then you would have to take tests on them to make sure that you understand material and different context clues and things like that.
Reading comprehension.
And the really funny part is the schools would turn around, and so, I grew up here my entire life. So basically it was like you would have to read the book, and you would have to have a certain amount of points by the end of your quarter, your semester, whatever you were doing.
Yeah.
To be able to pass.
Right.
And so I'm in 3rd grade, and I read Harry Potter, because of course I am.
Oh yeah, you're in 3rd grade.
I take the AR test, and it's the Chamber of Secrets, and it's 24 AR points, which is way over the limit, because I think we only needed like 12 points. So it's 24 points, so I only have to read the one book and take the one AR test for the entire semester.
Sure.
To reach the limit.
Yeah.
My teacher goes, you can't do that.
Well.
My mom was like, well, why not? She's reading. It's fine. They were like, you can't do that. So my teacher makes me, and I could pick whichever one I want.
Sure.
Go get a nonfiction book.
That was the response?
Mm-hmm. Makes me go get a new book.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I get this book on Antarctica to read. And so I read it. And I fail, I think on purpose at this point, because I just didn't want to do it.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
I have this thing where basically if you tell me, hey, you have to do this thing, I'm like, absolutely not, I don't want to do it. So I won't do it.
You know what they call that? They call it ADHD, because I have the same thing.
And so I purposefully failed this test like 5 times. Finally passed it at the last time because my teacher was like, if you don't do this, I'm going to fail you. And I was like,
wow.
But I hated nonfiction from that point on.
I would not blame you. I mean, that's a horrible introduction to...
Refused to read it ever since.
Wow.
And so then when I got into, like, college...
Sure.
Because, like, it stuck with me where I was just like, I don't want to have to read nonfiction ever again.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
Yeah.
I get into college, and now I'm learning all this really cool stuff about, like, our history and things like that. And now I want to actually read nonfiction.
Right.
But I don't like, I will say, I don't like self-help books.
I've never even tried one, honestly.
And I feel like it's just because I don't like it when people tell me what to do.
Oh, there's that. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any memories of the nonfiction?
Yes. I mean, maybe I don't remember the exact first nonfiction book I read.
Sure.
I would go to the Lenawee District Library pretty frequently.
Traitor! No,
I know.
I'm just kidding.
We're back.
We like you, LDL. I'm just making a joke.
Sure. And so with the so I'd go there. I would. I was obsessed with aliens and stuff. So there was this one book. What was it called? It was like true UFO stories, something like that. I checked that out upwards of 20 times.
Really?
That they had a few other books on UFOs and stuff.
Oh, cool.
I would go there for books on I don't know. This is really young, like the weather and stuff.
Yeah.
Spiders, I had a weird obsession with, which is weird because I'm absolutely terrified of spiders right now.
Do you feel like you're more terrified of them because of what you know, or
no?
Okay,
I just don't like them.
No, exactly. Terrifying.
They don't deserve to live.
No, I agree. Thank you. But that's my arachnophobia speaking.
I would basically go to the library, and that's kind of where I first kind of got into nonfiction, I guess.
That's so interesting because I don't know how much of this will surprise anyone, but I was the kind of kid. So growing up, my grandmother had I don't even know if it was a philosophy or it was just a statement and an excuse to get rid of a set of encyclopedias. Either way, she informed my mother that she would not be able to responsibly raise children if she didn't have good books in the house. And every house with children in it should have a World Book Encyclopedia set. But those are extremely expensive. And my grandmother was a hoarder. So she just so happened to have an entire set of World Book Encyclopedias. But because they were hers, they were from because you know how every World Book Encyclopedia has the year that it's covering or the year that it was printed on the side. So this one was from the mid-60s, when my mother was being conceived. They're from that time long, that long ago. And of course that was something I was kind of somewhat aware of, but I didn't know anything about the 60s, so it didn't matter to me. So I would frequently, because they were on the bottom shelf of our bookshelf in the bookshelf moved around. But anyway, so I would frequently just grab a volume and open it and read and see what was in there. And I don't remember what I was first looking up initially. I was probably just looking at random things, but I had a real hankering for learning more and more and more about ancient cultures. But I would read the same article pieces over and over and over again, trying to wish myself into those places to see if I could learn more. Had no idea that there's an entire group of scientific fields that are, designed to, they write and all this kind of scholarship around this stuff. I had no idea of that stuff because I was, 7, 8, 9. But that's where all of that, my nonfiction interest sort of began in that place, I think. I did read, there was a series of biographies that was for kids, probably for 4th, 5th grade, now that I think about those, the length of them, and they were chapter books. But they were biographies on the presidents and the founding fathers outside of the presidents. And so they were I remember them being blue for some reason. They were red, white, and blue, but mostly blue with a little red, white, and blue flag in the corner or something like that. And, they were just, a lot of schools had them lying around. And so at school sometimes whenever we were bored or told to go read, that was something that was available that I was like, okay, I could read this. This has some kind of story happening, but also it's about George Washington, that kind of thing. So I read a few of those just to pass the time. They weren't very interesting. But yeah, so, I think that's where my initial, interest in discovering more about historical time periods came from was that. Yeah. So does he? Okay, so I'm just gonna keep asking questions.
Yeah, do that.
Because I'm just curious how other people read nonfiction, because it's not something people talk about very often. I feel like with library patrons even, you can convince a library patron to talk to you about a novel much, much faster, 9 times out of 10, than a nonfiction, unless it's like a specific kind of, like, I feel like if someone was reading a biography or a memoir and they were talking about it, like, I could get them to talk about it, because I get the feeling that people who read biographies and memoirs, like, more than they read anything else, are just interested in the way people's lives, may have
like
gone.
How they've lived and how they've grown up, and it's like an anthropological thing.
Yeah, and so it's easier to talk to people because that's the kind of thing we do anyway in general. Like the conversations we have are about the people in our lives, or the what have you. So I think that's interesting. But I'm curious how. Like, what particular subjects do you both find yourselves drawn to when it comes to nonfiction? Because we all have the stuff we hate, right? But, like, what's the stuff that you're always excited to know that there's a book out in the world about? So, have at it.
You seem like you really...
I know. I do have answers for this, actually. So, for me, as I was mentioning earlier, like, in college, I got more into art history and history in general.
Yeah.
I am very much big into, art history things. So this isn't just like learning about like certain paintings or certain, forms of art.
Right.
This is like learning about, like, for example, reading a book on the Medici family from the Renaissance and learning about how, reading about how they shaped certain parts of history and how that affects history. Like, that's really cool to me. So reading about that, reading about fun things about, like, the art history world, like certain random, like, discoveries that they made, stuff like that, that's cool.
Yeah.
History's kind of the same way. Like, if you make me sit and read a history book where they just say, well, in 1737, like, like, no, that's boring to me. Like, I don't like that. That's just... I understand. We're reading this, like, in a textbook to be chronological. Cool. What I like to read in history is, like, for example, we bought a book. We have a book here. It's The History of the World in 12 Carpets.
Yeah, that one seems really interesting.
Which sounds interesting because you're looking at different, like, little things like that, and you're learning about different cultures and different ways that these, like, carpets like go across history. There's a history of like the world in like 12 like a few coins or something like that.
So you need an angle to hook you.
Yeah. Or it's like if I'm reading specifically about like the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings and things like that, I want my book to be about the Anglo-Saxons and Vikings.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it to be like a full chronological like takedown. Like, I want somebody who's passionate about the subject when I'm reading about it, because they're going to be the ones who are like having hyperfixations.
Yeah. And
they're going to find some of that crazy, random, weird information that you're just gonna go, I never knew that before, and go for it.
Yeah.
I like a lot of things. I like science, stuff about science, space, science, plants, nature, things like that. Yeah. I know that it doesn't change all that often, but like when somebody has a new perspective or they've written something for a thesis or something like that, I like to read it because I like to see what somebody's thinking when it comes to those things. It's the same thing when I'm looking at stuff like religion. Like, I don't care to read the self-help religion books. 248s, I don't want to read your Joyce Myers.
Oh, come on. Don't you just want to be sitting there when Joel Osteen is typing out his new latest...
No, because the man comes out with a new book.
I think that was one of his titles.
Because the man comes out with a new book.
Every 3 months?
Every year or so, and it's the exact same thing as the last book, just slightly different with verbiage.
It's the same with like your Glenn Beck's or whoever. Is he dead? I don't.
No, he's not. He's alive.
Somehow he's still somewhere. Yes, he's still
one every other month.
Yeah.
How can you possibly have anything interesting or penetrating to say about an event that happened a month ago?
Exactly.
You know what
Precisely, I mean? Especially because with a lot of them, they already have a daily, weekly, monthly commitment on some kind of radio platform, TV platform,
so
and it's like, so are you
just?
Yeah, you're like, are you just doing this for people who don't like radio?
Like,
and it's honestly for me too. It's the same thing with like self-help books. I can't because yes, it's an overflowing thing, and yes, people really love to read them, but, like, for me personally, like, I look at them and I'm like, these are all, like, the exact same advice, but it's just written differently for different palettes. Like, this person over here is going to say this, but this person's saying the exact same thing over here, but you're going to listen to this person because they align with your values more than this person. And
or they're cuter than the other person.
It's just, like, the exact same thing, so I usually skip that section, but I do say I am always in the parapsychology section, which is all your ghosts and...
Yeah, but that's because parapsychology is fascinating.
It's an interesting...
Just because there's so much you, like, never know.
So much that we
trust.
don't know, and so much that, like, we think we know, but there's so much, like, that also connects with, is this part of religion? Is this not part of religion? Is there an actual scientific basis to things? And so when you're reading parapsychology, like, the really fun part is it's... Sometimes you have to take it with a grain of salt. But sometimes when you're reading it, you have to go, all right, so which perspective is this person coming from? And that's the most fun part about reading parapsychology.
Yeah.
Is you're like, is this person coming from a scientific basis? Are they coming from a ghost hunting basis? Are they spiritual? Right. Are they not spiritual? Are they religious? Like, what? Like, are we reading, like, Ed and Lorraine Warren style, like, pieces? Or are we reading something a la, like... some random person who's died once and then thinks they've come back and they know exactly what heaven looks like.
I mean,
so, like, you don't know.
When you look back at the Warrens, they're a bit sketchy, to be honest.
Yes, I know. That's why I said them in the first place.
Okay.
I know.
With that whole genre of writing, I've a much more complicated relationship with it than I used to.
Sure.
I guess I'm very hard on it just because I want it to be true so much, maybe.
Yeah.
Sure. And I want people to actually have a certain rigor when they're talking about these things, and then obviously you get just the bloat of the endless stream of books of trash. In that area. But.
That's something like, so one of my pet nonfiction subjects, as we all know, that I literally kind of just talked about with the encyclopedia things, that I love. I've found a way to, like, in the last 15 years, I've slowly just sort of begun to read more and more and more within those different fields. But I love when, with the antiquities, I feel like I kind of just found a new understanding of the reality of those studies, which is you're never, ever, ever going to be able to study the antiquities without realizing that there are people who, in that field, who are interested in proving the Bible true. That is a huge... and in fact, it took until the 50s. There was a female American scholar in the 50s who literally wrote a takedown of that approach, because that was the approach. And the phrase is, archaeologists had a trowel in one hand and a Bible in the other.
Yes.
And
because you're going there with preconceived notions, and you're
honestly,
and it was the very first time that anyone in the field had said, "Hey guys, I think we're doing this wrong," and suddenly everyone else who'd kind of been thinking it but never committed it to writing went, wait a minute, she's right.
So here's the thing. So one of my favorite documentaries, like, technically it could be all just pseudo history anyways. Because, but it's the same hat. It's a history channel documentary.
Yeah.
And it's about finding, like, the shroud. The Jesus shroud.
The Shroud of Turin,
The one that had his face in it, and they do, like, a 3D rendering of his face. And it's, like, the most
I've seen that very
fascinating, like, documentary to me, because, one, I just, like, find it fascinating that, like, we're doing archaeological, like, digs and things with that kind of preconceived, like, Bible notion.
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, like, I kind of, like, almost applaud and commend, like, certain people for trying to do that in the first place, because, like, it's got a scientific basis to it, technically, if you really think
like, in
about
terms
it.
of what
because
they go to do.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to scientifically prove, or, you know, anthropologically, archaeologically, prove that, like, this actually existed, this actually happened. And I can't, like, find them too much fault in that. Like, they have their preconceived notions, yes.
Yeah.
But, like, wanting to turn around and, like, do all that they can to go, all right, was this actually real or not? Like, I can't find fault with them for that.
No, I think it's interesting.
That's kind of what all people who have religious like ideologies kind of do. It's just we want to we have this faith, but like we want to make sure that it's real, and they want to look for that. And I'm like, I can't.
It's interesting.
Mad at them
I
for
just
wanting
think
to find that.
it's interesting because the way that it dovetails with a lot of other pseudo history is that it is very clearly, obviously, predominantly made up. You take one little thing that is kind of a fact, and then you go into it and you're like, this person wants this to be true so bad. Like there's a whole body of work around. And I kid you not, it is fascinating how much it dovetails with pseudo-history and parapsychology at the same time, because part of it was based in Freud. Freud was a big proponent of this particular pseudo-historical thing. But there's a whole field of work that emerges from the 40s, 50s, and 60s that compares the life of Moses to the life of Akhenaten, and they must have been the same person. And it's in its like first throes of trying to understand it, you're like, this is fascinating. And then you read just one, document too far, and you're like, yeah, I think all of these people want this to be true, and they've brought a lot of thought to this, and they've brought a lot of, there's a lot of facts in there, but you have to parse it all out.
And we know a lot more now than we did.
Yeah, we know a lot more
now
than we did.
There was the gaps to be filled with those kinds of theories.
Yeah, I think one of the issues with that is that, like on the one hand, you have the people who are doing it for the conviction of their faith, and that's one thing, and I'm a little bit more critical of it just because I was raised in that environment, so I kind of know where all of that thinking is coming from. But at the same time, it's also easier to kind of let that go and be like, well, that's what they're doing it for, so they're clearly not operating under the same instruction as the anthropologist or the archaeologist who is looking to see what is actually just there, and has to, as a lot of people in the antiquities admit, there's no way to absolutely know anything. There are certain things that are like, okay, this is absolutely... For example, they found pig bones in a part of Israel that they can carbon date back to a certain time. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yes, but if you follow all of the scholarship that has happened up to this point to this area, you would be convinced that the biblical reign of the Israelites was accurate. But the truth of the matter is it could not be, because if there are pig bones here, then that means either the Jewish people of antiquity have been lying about the fact that they can't eat pigs, or they were just a certain strand or cult that decided we're going to eat pigs because we have to, or there were actually Canaanites living there, and once they were obliterated, the Israelites kind of came in and just took over. Yeah.
Well,
so
there's also the fact that
there's so much more going on.
The Palestinians who were living there beforehand also can't eat pork because they're Muslim.
Well, but that's the problem, is that for a very, very long time,
mm-hmm.
that in that entire area, that's all there was to farm with. Were bulls, cows, and pigs. That's the kind
I will say, so one of my favorite websites to follow, since we're on an archaeology track at this point, is Heritage Daily, and they talk there's a different thing that they talk about every single day.
Yeah.
And so 2 days ago, they rediscovered a lost medieval town in Norway.
Wow.
Oh, that's fun.
That they've been digging or looking at for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So they have that, and then a couple days before, so on the 5th, they found blocks from the lighthouse of Alexandria in the seabed.
Oh, that's cool.
So you see some really cool things like that, but this is just one of the things.
I feel like.
Do you have any other topics that you like to read about?
Topics?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
I know that we kind of veered off from that.
No, that's okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, at a base level, I have to be interested in what I am reading. Uh-huh. So I read a lot of. If I am reading nonfiction, I read books about music or film or
as I keep getting him books about music.
Yeah, shout out to Aaron for getting the Talking Heads, the new Talking Heads book.
Oh, nice.
I keep turning around and I keep getting music books to add to the collection because our music section is dismal at the moment, and I keep going, hey Grant, here's this.
I have a few suggestions in a draft.
Ooh.
I'll send it to you.
Yay!
But as of a few years ago, I've really started getting into like philosophy and stuff like that, theory more broadly.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I'm a systematic thinker in some ways, and I just really maybe my autistic brain loves that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
But those are typically my areas of interest.
Yeah.
I like in that particular area. I prefer thinkers who bring elements from different disciplines into one thing.
Yeah.
Kind of a melding, but I don't know.
Yeah. I know. I really love. It's interesting because like I think it's been longer than that. It's interesting to think back like to where my interest in certain things began. Like when I think about how much I really, really love the way that literary academics frame their arguments. That's not where it all started. It started with kind of like, there's this book, which I'm going to make you guys read because it's the nonfiction choice, where it's a series of interviews with these not necessarily highly successful, but like names that people would recognize in children's fantasy. And it's done by an academic who, that's his whole field. He's a children's fiction historian and analyst and critic. And so he just will create these books where he interviews people. Like he has a whole one on picture book author and illustrator creation and all that kind of thing. But the fantasy one is the one that I read first, and I read it for like annually for a decade, just because every time I wanted to like know what I thought about fantasy or like whatever, I would read that book every single year, and it's like so, and it's led me to other places. And so I kind of like this Magic Worlds. I love finding that there's more there that I didn't know. And also one of the great things about reading within a field is you see certain names and books crop up over and over again, and that makes you want to go track that one down. Like you're like, okay, I've seen that referenced in 5 different books from 5 different decades by 5 different what is happening here with that? And so makes me at least want to go track it down and see what it's made of, and do I agree with them or not, kind of thing. That's one of my favorite things about nonfiction, is just sort of following the trail of thought all over the place, because people who write nonfiction, whether they're academics or not, particularly the more rigorous ones, they know so much. Because they, like with this Magic Worlds, he admits in the introduction that he started thinking of wanting to do this project in 2008, and it came out this book I think came out last year, and it's like, wow. But when you read just the introduction, there's so much thought that has gone into this, and so much reading, and so much, and I'm just like, I'm glad you people exist, but I'm also glad I'm not one of you, because my brain cannot handle that. There's so much that you have to like laser focus in on in order to be able to produce something like this, that I don't even know how they
focus like on one specific thing. Where meanwhile,
I just don't know how they live life.
You and I are like, let's go on Wikipedia, let's read the article. Oh, look, like a blue link on an article, and we click it, and it just leads us down a rabbit hole. Yeah. When these people have to be like super laser focused. It's like really interesting.
Yeah. And so it's interesting reading people who have to have that focus, and their focus produces these thoughts that I'm like, I can only maybe argue with half that phrase, because the other half of the phrase, I'm like, what the heck are you talking about?
It'll be really interesting. I'm excited to see all of your... all of our picks.
I know, I finally narrowed it down to what I want, so...
I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it. Well, you can go last then, because I know I already picked mine first, and so next time we'll do mine.
You're right. I can do...
Do we want to say what yours is?
I can,
give people a sneak peek?
Sneak peek for people. Mine is, technically we actually have it too. It's called A Taste for Poison by Neil Bradbury.
Oh, right.
And I will explain more about it when we get there, but it's basically about like a few different kinds of poisons and how they've killed people and different ramifications for it. And this isn't like poisons that you normally think of.
Right.
This is like insulin.
Oh,
yeah, that's the first.
That's like literally the first one is insulin, and how like accidentally like being diabetic, you're poisoning yourself if you're not careful.
Oh, that's
and so it's certain things like that, and it talks about that because it's a medical book. It's not an actual science book; it's a medical book.
That's cool.
From what I have read from it, it's he does a good job of like telling that narrative.
If I had